Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 191. Presented by DraftKings. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benesowitz, and we are now 1 week away from the start of the NBA regular season. Final preseason game for the Nets, winners against the Heat, while the Knicks fall to the Wizards 131-106, but all about now gearing up for the regular season. NBA season is finally upon us, and for both the Nets and Knicks, optimism, reasons to be down, reasons to be up, but at least it's here, Alex. Good morning. And how are you?
I am doing well. I am very excited about the NBA season. The Jets are still alive somehow. The Giants are done. But I think everybody in New York is ready for another season to start. You got hockey going. WNBA just ended. And you're ready for something to get your attention again. And, you know, baseball is over in New York a long time. So yeah. I think we're all geared up for basketball in this city and New Jersey. I think we're all ready.
No, I am absolutely too. And I think I kind of forgot about the rhythm of it because, for example, you know, it's not baseball where you play every single day, essentially. You know, you have a couple days off a month, and then football, it's once a week. It's been nice to have a rhythm of, all right, the Nets play Wednesday. Oh, they play again on a Saturday. Oh, they play again on a Tuesday. I'm not saying earth-shaking breaking news here. Yes, you play 3 games a week or 2 games to 4 games a week during the NBA season, but it's just been nice to have the Nets on in the background. Even though right now, of course, it's just preseason games, but still the interest of Ben Simmons, how does Mikal Bridges look, the development of, Spencer Dinwiddie being off the ball. And it's just been a nice relief to have at night. I've really enjoyed just having it there in my back pocket.
Yeah, no, I miss the games as well. It's something to really talk about because, you know, now Knicks fans are sucking into pause, but they're getting into Skechers talk because Julius Randle signed with Skechers and with the sneaker company, which is kind of crazy. And then all of a sudden now Joel Embiid might get signed with Skechers, and it's just everybody's like now connecting the dots. You know, the tin cap kind of like, well, Embiid and Randle, and you know maybe he's coming to the Knicks, and it's just like, oh my god, can we get a game going, please? You know. Like, please, can we have a game? So whatever.
Well, on the Sixers front, I mean, James Harden not going to practice.
Yeah.
I think as a Net fan,
it's obvious.
And we won't spend an enormous amount of time on this because we will preview the season. But I think as a Net fan, just seeing this is a little satisfying in knowing that, yes, James Harden bailed on the Nets, and it was a lot more complicated I don't want to compare situations for him, it was a lot more complicated with Kyrie Irving intertwined in the vaccine.
He looked like a genius.
Right. Still bailed on the Nets.
Right.
But it's just as a Net fan to see him now doing the same charade in Philly, you just kind of like makes you feel a little bit better about the situation overall. That they just these kind of personalities all together, not the best teammate. I mean, he just kind of a loser, just moving on. Right, just never satisfied with his situation, and you see it happen in real time. You see it too with Durant. I don't see it as much with Irving, because I think it's all just sort of part of his persona. But with Durant, he's like talking about Bradley Beal and him and Booker. Like when all 3 of us are on the court, how are you going to stop us? And I'm just like, it's the same shit. It's just, I'm like, you guys are great, you could win, but it's just weird being on the outside and then seeing it on the inside, and your net problems are like kind of more standard and kind of cool. To be real,
I told you it's nice to have a real team again. I've been saying that to you. It's probably you're probably feeling that like, oh, thank God, you know, we're back to just normal. Can we get better? Can we get a better player? Make the team better? Can we do this? And it's just different. Nice instead of like worrying about vaccines and all that kind of nonsense.
It's stressful.
Yeah, you could never really enjoy those guys. Yeah, it was always like something.
It was always something.
And like the meme, like, oh shit, here we go again, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? It was just kind of Felt that way. And yeah, Harden looked like a genius leaving the Nets before Kyrie stuff hit, and he was like, get me out of here. And now it just looks like, he lost all credibility from that he gained from that by wanting to leave the Sixers. And I don't know what the Sixers are thinking. Like, what do they think is going to happen? Do you think that Harden's just going to show up and play? Like, hasn't he shown that he's not going to do that? Just get him out of there. Like, stop trying to win. Like, just leave him. Like, he wants to go to the Clippers, just send him there. Just get what you can and just move on, because you're just hurting Joel Embiid. You're hurting your franchise by having him in the building. It's just Morey, I think, has it's like a personal ego thing with him. It's like, just get him out of there. You messed up.
Yeah. Oh,
Move on.
it's a combination of all of it. I mean, it's definitely ego where you think you're leaving. No, you're under contract. We have no, we don't have to do this.
Right.
And put its foot in the stand. And Daryl Morey, we don't publicly probably see as much about him as we do James Harden. But when you got two guys that are very confident in their abilities, and I'm sure Daryl Morey, in his own sense, is an egomaniac narcissist. And I say that with all love and care of not knowing the man personally, but to get to be that successful, and I say that with like a nice pat on the back, I'm sure the two of them do not want to give in. And as you allude to, at some point you have to, or it's just going to be a circus around your organization all year. I mean, the Nets were lucky in a lot of ways because they had the luxury to have Ben Simmons as a natural trade partner. I mean, that worked out in a sick way. I mean, if Ben Simmons isn't available, I mean, well, maybe I'll contradict myself a little bit here. Maybe it forces James Harden to stay and he works through it. And because of Kyrie and Durant and the understanding of maybe in a month or two, this will all work out. Maybe he stays, but it was because of the natural pairing with Ben Simmons. I mean, there is nothing really the Clippers can offer the Sixers in the moment that is going to help. I mean, Philly is a team that has title aspirations. Harden is gone. Maybe they get picks and guys for the future, but it's over. I mean, the Sixers are toast in the East.
Yeah, they need some real players, and they were talking about like it was Terrence Mann and a couple picks. Like the Sixers need something more than that. And if the Clippers know they have them by the balls, and that's so how it goes. But you know what, the Sixers are just in a bad spot. And you have to take a step back in order to take two forward. And if you really want to fix your franchise, maybe trade Tobias Harris if you could, and really do it. But now you're at the season starting, training camp's over, and it's just what are you doing? But that's just one team in the East that, maybe the Knicks and the Nets don't have to worry about in the Sixers. They still have Joel Embiid, and they're still going to be very good as long as he's healthy. And Tobias Harris is a good player. And Maxey, yeah, I was getting to that. He's a good player too. And it's just, it is what it is. I mean, it's nice to not have those problems from the Knicks and the Nets, and the Knicks, their Isaiah Roby got released. And, over the summer when they traded Obi Toppin for a bag of chips, it was well, we have Isaiah Roby as the backup, he'll be fine. That's all, like, that was the company line narrative from a lot of fans. It was Isaiah Roby. I'm like, this guy sucks. He's playing in the summer league in his 5th season. That means he sucks. Like, what are we doing here? Like, what are you talking about? And now that he gets released by the Knicks, of course, it's like nobody said that. Nobody was relying on him to be the backup. Of course, now nobody said it. Now everybody's on top of it. And it's just, give me a break. That's the game that people play, so it is what it is. So now the Knicks are just going to rely on, Josh Hart as their backup and Jericho Sims as their backup to play like a Taj Gibson role. And, we'll see what happens. It's just, I would have preferred to just keep Obi Toppin and just keep going and see what happens. But, now we're here and the season's starting, and let's go. I think Knicks are going to win around 47, 48 games and be like the same kind of team. And unless, we say this every year, unless RJ Barrett takes another step, you know what I mean? And that's literally what it is. And he's looked better with his free throws in the preseason, he hit a lot of them, but it's the regular season's a different animal, and we'll see how that goes. And I'm just excited to see guys like Mitchell Robinson take another step, because I really think he has another level to his game.
I always have said this about Obi. I mean, he didn't play last year. He didn't really play anyway. I mean, he was a nice, I guess, luxury to have when Randall was hurt or Randall wasn't available, because then Obi would step in and did a decent job, very good job filling in at the starting spot. But even if he was on this team, it would just be complaining that he's only getting 8 minutes a game. So I think in a weird way, if you're a Knicks fan, you should be thankful he's not here, not because Not because he wasn't a good player or couldn't show any potential. I don't really don't know the answer to that. I think we'll find out more of that in Indiana, but more of just that the narrative and the storyline is gone, and it's something just not even that can be focused on every day. And maybe that helps the Knicks and Julius Randle and their team chemistry on that front because he's not here and it's not a storyline. Well, why did Obi only get 7 minutes, or why did Obi only get 11 minutes? And it's just more of, it's on Randall's shoulders. He's going to play 35, 36 minutes a game, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just something to not even have to think about. Now, it would rear its ugly head back to the Knicks if, Obi starts flourishing in Indiana. I think then the question marks will come. I mean,
Yeah.
here and there, that would be it. But to the same extent, like I expect Obi to play well in Indiana. I've been kind of tongue in cheek about this because I'm rooting for him to do well. I don't know. I think he's gonna have a better year in Indiana. Obviously, he's gonna get minutes, but I don't think Knick fans should be worried that Obi Toppin is gonna be Amari Stoudemire all of a sudden because
The
he is
son's
in
Amari
England.
Stoudemire.
The son's Amari Stoudemire because he's got a point guard in Halliburton. I think he's obviously going to be better, but I think you're going to see, he's going to average 10 to 12 points a game. He's going to get 5 or 6 rebounds because he's going to get minutes. But I wouldn't be worried of he comes out there and you're like, holy shit, we just lost an all-star. I would relax on that.
I don't know if he's going to be an all-star, but I think he's going to give you 18 and 18 and 8 to 10. And
Wow.
he's going to be good. And he's not going to be Sean Marion from the Suns, like the Matrix. Like we can go back to Suns references, but he's going to be like his own guy and he's going to run the floor and they're going to have him in the right spots. I know that they're showing like preseason clips of Obi still standing in the corner, like Knicks fans are making jokes, like Tibbs made him stand in the corner when he was on the Pacers too, kind of a thing. But like, it just, I just feel it's preseason. People are not showing what the offenses they're gonna run. Everybody's playing vanilla offenses, not breaking down tape of the preseason games and stuff like
Not
that.
the Nets.
Yeah, and really the only thing that's pressing before the season for the Knicks is paying Immanuel Quickley. Are you going to extend him or are you going to let him get to restricted free agency? Because if you let him get to restricted free agency after another good season this year that he's going to have, somebody's going to throw a bag at him and you better lock him up right now. And even if you plan on trading him in a year or two, you got to lock him up, and it's just, I really love Quickley. He's one of my favorite players on the team, and I really don't want to see him go. It would be really upsetting and a really big waste of time if we lose Obi Toppin and Immanuel Quickley and just pay all these Villanova players, So that's a little frustrating.
Yeah, the growth of Quickley has been one of those draft picks for the Knicks that have panned out, a later pick, and yeah, he's going to continue to see that. And yeah, it's similar to like a Tyrese Maxey level kind of player that's going to demand a contract. And for the Knicks, in a weird spot of all of these guys starting to ascend, but not great. And I think that goes back to why you're probably angry at the Knicks because they're missing a piece.
Yes.
But yeah, see where his level grows and where he goes. Because yeah, he'll definitely get paid. I mean, he's gonna demand it. I think he stays with the Knicks. I can't imagine him not in a Knick uniform. Feels like he likes it here. The fans love him. He has a really good role for this team as he comes off the bench and can provide instant offense. I would be shocked if the Knicks butcher this.
Yeah, and he didn't play last night in the preseason game. They said he had some kind of strain, so that could be like a contract strain. Like, don't get hurt right now. We're about to sign this contract. You know what I mean? Like, or they're about to trade him. Who knows?
No.
But like, I just feel like because Knicks Nation, the account on Twitter, is great guys, and they put out that Quickley was working out with Chris Brinkley during the day and then, or Brickley, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. And he was, but everybody knows who he is. But then he wasn't playing in the game. So it kind of raised some eyebrows like, maybe it's just one of those contract.
Well, it's the preseason too, yeah. Alex. I mean,
and it's a back-to-back preseason.
No one play. I mean, if you're not playing in the preseason, I don't think it should ever be questioned. Right. It's just coaches and staffs have a plan of what they want to do. Like, for example, the Nets last night basically played everybody. Cam Johnson still hoping to have him back for the season opener versus the Cleveland Cavaliers on Wednesday, but there's hope that he's going to practice this weekend as he's had the hamstring and we haven't seen him at all yet. But the Nets yesterday playing Bridges, playing Ben Simmons, playing Spencer Dinwiddie, playing Nick Claxton, playing Day'Ron Sharp, 19 and 11. So the Nets, their intentions were to tune up and be ready for Wednesday. I actually have liked the approach of playing guys because they need reps together. And I'm not talking about like 40 minutes. They're playing 20, 25 minutes. I like the idea that they have played the starters. And I'll give a shout out to Lonnie Walker. We'll do a Lonnie Walker start for Nets. He played really well, and
He's a decent player. Yeah,
he was good. I mean, he's
Yeah.
knocking down shots. You can see the difference with this year's Nets to last year's Nets is the athletic players that can knock down shots is a little bit different. The Joe Harrises of the world who lost all athletic ability and was just couldn't get to the rim anymore and was just kind of in the corner shooting, and he made it or he didn't.
Heavy
Seth
pockets.
Curry with
Heavy
his
pockets, Joe Harris. Heavy pockets.
Nets dealt him. Seth Curry, when he got hot, he could make a move or two, but he was smaller defender. And then Patty Mills, same problem. I mean, now the Nets they got like size and wings, and Lonnie Walker, I think, leads it. Feel better about that part of the Nets. You know, the tough part of the Nets are they've actually scored okay in the preseason. I don't want to get too crazy detailed about it because they'll play against the Cavs, and everything that you saw in the last 3 weeks won't matter. It'll go all about that first quarter. And then Ben Simmons still sort of playing well, has a lot of turnovers, but I think anything that's like this, you'll take. The weird part about Ben is, and I think he's played well. He's had some really good highlights, but like the team's not winning when he's, you know what I mean? Like he's actually played well and he's done a nice job, but you don't get the sense of, well, he's on the court and the Nets are just dominating. It's more of, you look at these highlights and it's exciting, but then you look at the score, they're down 20. So happy to see that he's being more aggressive, making some really nice passes. Clearly looks more athletic. I mean, he looks so much healthier and so much better than he ever did of last year. But I think Net fans do need to temper expectations. Like this guy's going to be a dominant superstar. I think anything like this of just playing really solid defense, distributing the ball, getting up and down the court, he took 2 turnaround jumpers. He made one. I mean, I think this you'd have to say, I'll sign up for this right now.
Yeah, and we talked about that also. At 10, 5, and 5, you'll sign up for that right now. Just something better than zeros. You know what I mean? That's just what the bar has been really lowered. Lower than a Zach Wilson bar is Ben Simmons. Just get on the floor. You know what I mean? Just play basketball. Yeah. And that's all you can ask for. And I wanted to ask you, how has Dennis Smith Jr. looked? That's a little Knicks connection.
Well, he injured his ankle in the first game and has not played.
He has not played. Okay, that shows how much I've paid attention to the Nets preseason. But it's
not a nice boot.
Yeah, I'll pay attention once the season starts. But in the preseason, it's really hard to follow all the.
I got to answer it honestly. If you're going to ask me the question, I should have lied. I should have been like, you didn't see that 40-point outburst he had in the first quarter.
Or you could have made it like, well, he's been dressing really well on the bench.
Yeah, no, he got hurt, or I guess it was the first game he hurt his ankle. So we really haven't seen him much.
Right.
So to answer your question, nothing really to report on there on the former Nick. Any other net questions you have? Any other you want to know how Cam Johnson's played this preseason? He's looked really good.
Yeah. No, how about no, I'm kidding. I'm not gonna make a bad joke, so I won't even go.
Don't.
What are your win expectations for the Nets this year?
I think
it's a tough question because you don't want to be too high, you don't want to be too low.
They are a very difficult team to answer, and that is coming from somebody that enjoys watching them. Like I think they're a tough answer because I think their range is so wide. I think they are anywhere between, and this is such a bad answer, but it's the answer.
I'm used to it from you, the bad answers.
Yeah, man. That's why it's called Bad Answer Mike fans. I think it's anywhere between 36 and 46 wins. I really do. I think it could go in either direction. I think if all things click, they could win games. Ben looks good. Mikal Bridges takes a step up. Cam Johnson gets better. Nick Claxton's getting better. Dinwiddie plays off the ball and is a decent scorer, is something I wanted to talk about. Cam Thomas comes in and provides a spark for this team. They've got more size now and depth with Royce O'Neal, Lonnie Walker. They got guys that can go out there and shoot threes that aren't necessarily 3-point shooters, but they start making down shots. They've made a ton of 3-point shots without having a natural 3-point threat per se on this roster. They can win. Then at the same time, Ben Simmons breaks down. Mikal Bridges, it's all on his shoulders. He can't do everything. Spencer Dinwiddie starts chucking up shots, going one-on-one. Cam Thomas hogs the ball. Nothing happens well with him. Nick Claxton, yeah, he's a good defender and he can finish around the rim, but he's not giving you much else. Day'Ron Sharp's been a bust with the 29th pick that they got. And all these guys that they tried to sign off the bench are nice bench players, but what are they else? And I can spin it both ways for you. I really don't know.
So
I don't know which ones are they going to get.
So what you're saying is they're going to win anywhere from 25 to 55 games.
I think so. Yeah, I would say anywhere from 0 to 82, Alex. To give you an answer, I'll settle in the middle. I think they go 41-41, but get better as the season progresses, and you feel better about them towards the end of the year than the beginning of the year. That's where I see them going, and I see them getting into the play-in game. They have a great win versus the Chicago Bulls, and then they do something that shocks the world in the first round. They go play the Bucks and they win a game. They lose in 5, and I can at least end the season going, they did better than the last couple of years because they got one win at the Barclays Center, game 3, electric atmosphere, and the Nets get one win in the first round, and they beat Dame Lillard, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and the Milwaukee Bucks and lose in 5, and then get the shit kicked out of them in games 4 and 5. 41 wins. Long-winded answer. 500 team, but get better as the season goes on.
I'll give you some positivity. And as much as it doesn't really mean anything, it kind of means something. So it's one of those like Vegas numbers, but it's not a Vegas number. So Yahoo Fantasy Basketball. Last year, Halliburton was ranked in the top 10, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, he was his first year with the Pacers, and I'm like, okay, he's going to be good. His volume's going to be up, but is he really going to be that great? Like, that's crazy to take him in the top 10. Mikal Bridges this year is ranked anywhere between 5 and 8 on most draft boards.
For fantasy?
In fantasy basketball, Mikal Bridges.
I guess he does a little of everything. Too.
He does a little of everything, and he's going to be the number 1 option on the Nets, like by far. And he also showed it in the second half of the season last year when he was on the Nets that he played really well as that, and people are not noticing that. So that's a very I learned my lesson last year making fun of Halliburton in that Yahoo ranking. Yahoo fantasy basketball. Right. They know more than me, but I love fantasy basketball, and I'm telling you, like, Mikal Bridges is primed to be an all-star this year if he stays healthy and everything happens well. And so I would be positive about that. People are going to be talking about him in a couple months, like, oh yeah, I knew he would be this great. Like the whole Isaiah Roby thing. Like, I never said he was going to be the backup 4. It's going to be like, he's going to be really, really good. I'm not breaking any news here. He's going to be that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what they're hoping for. They traded an all-time legend, and he was in the return. Now you look back at that Durant trade. You got Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and 3 first-round picks, or 4 first-round, the 3 picks, and the 1 swap, or whatever it is. I know Corey Cantor's going to text me, hey, Mike, it was this and that. I get you. I'm sorry, Corey. It's actually not a bad trade for Durant, who's still very, very effective, obviously. The Suns have title aspirations, but it's a good return, especially before the new CBA or whatever, and how everything changed. Mm-hmm. Mikal has to be the guy. I am intrigued because when Mikal was the guy last year, he had more primary ball handling responsibilities because he wasn't the point guard. But what's been unique in this preseason is Ben is the one that's starting this offense, and it's different, the dynamic, how they work together. So it's if it's going to ultimately succeed for the Nets to surprise some people, that chemistry component has to be figured out, and it'll be different, I think, than what Mikal was last year, where get in the ball, get out of the way. It was a little bit different. What I've seen in the preseason, it's been more Ben has control. How does he get Bridges the ball? How does Bridges come off a screen and get the ball from Ben? Different than last year. Now, if it fails and Ben sucks, it's going to go back to what it was. But I think there's a little wrinkle that'll be a little bit of a learning curve for Net fans and for the Nets as they integrate all of this. And Spen Harris, on Twitter, Fireside Nets, he did his post-game reaction video, and he talked about it too. Like, Dinwiddie doesn't have the ball at all anymore. Last year, it was him dribbling nonstop and it was driving Net fans crazy. He's just kind of setting up in the corner, setting up shop, and he's getting the ball. It's a different look if Ben's gonna be the distributor than what we had seen last year when Ben was basically a joke at the end of his stint with the Nets and then was gone, and it was all Bridges. I don't. That's why I don't know how all that's gonna play out, and I'm very curious to see it happen in real time.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Nets very closely in the preseason, and I saw that as well. No.
Dennis Smith Jr. was fantastic.
He was awesome. Yeah, he was awesome. And I just it's exciting to talk about and get something new to talk about with the NBA. You know what I mean? Because it's been the same storylines, and the Knicks have been stuck in this holding pattern. And like, are they going to trade Fournier? Are they not going to trade Fournier? So we're kind of stuck there, and it's nice to try to finally turn the page and get to the next level and see what the Nets are going to be and see what the Knicks are going to be and actually play some games and get in there. And it's exciting, and what are you pulling up? I'm pulling something up on his phone if you're watching.
No, I'm pulling up the Knicks schedule. So
okay, they play the Celtics. That's what.
Let's go win-loss for the Knicks first.
All 82, yeah. Win, 82. Loss. Yeah.
Home Celtics.
I think
that's a good fun. That's a good. If you're an NBA fan, I think a lot of people are really interested to see the Celtics first off from a Nationals perspective, and then you Porzingis Holiday, and then you put it in New York at the Garden for the Knicks. That's a fun first game.
Yeah, because for some reason, some Knicks fans, not all Knicks fans, have lost the hate for Porzingis, which is bizarre to me. This guy really is only apologizing because he got stuck. He got, his tail was between his legs. He was stuck in Washington. He's like, yeah, I'm sorry about everything that happened. Like, yeah, now you're sorry, bro. Like, right? Like when you're in Dallas thinking you're going to win championships, you're not so sorry. Know what I mean?
Time heals.
Yeah, I mean, not for me, not for him, for me. But I'm good.
I have a question for you after too. Don't let me forget.
Okay. Well, I've not. Go ahead. Just do it now because
no. We got to do the win loss.
Oh, the win loss. Yeah. So
first
Celtics.
Celtics at the Garden. Yeah, you're winning. You want to say win, and then you're hesitating because you're like, how can I say that out loud? So you got to win.
Well,
I can get in your brain.
I'm going to say win because I really want them to win the opening game. I don't know, but it's 50-50 for that one.
At Atlanta.
I'm going to say loss.
All right, so they're 1-1. Then they go to the Pelicans, which are a wild card team on so many fronts.
With Zion, yeah. Oh my God, Zion looks good, but he always looks good and then gets hurt. I'm going to say win.
So in New Orleans. 2-1, and then going back to Cleveland, for a Cavs team that's not as good as the Knicks this year.
So 2-1 going to Cleveland. I'm going to say loss because I think the Cavs are going to take that game super serious and really, really go in and try to get revenge for the playoff loss and being embarrassed, and they're going to be home. I think that's going to be tough. So I'm going 500 first.
2-2. Okay. Yeah. Nets start their season home versus the Cavs, same night on Wednesday.
What are your thoughts?
I'll give you the same answer you had for the Knicks Celtics. It's a very similar kind of vibe there. I'll go win.
You go win. Okay.
Then they go to Dallas. They beat Kyrie. 2-0.
Yeah, that's going to be the game to watch. That's the Nets opening game, really, is that
Dallas game. No, it's not. For
me, it is. Yeah, that's the one I want to see.
I missed the Cav game because Alex told me it wasn't the opener.
Yeah, who cares about that game? Yeah. No.
Then at Charlotte on a Monday, that's another win because this team is unstoppable. 3-0. Then at Miami, that's a loss.
That's a loss. Just call it a loss. You can't go 4-0. Then you'll
no 3-1.
3-1.
Here's a weird stat I learned. The Nets played the Heat 3 times in November. A strange scheduling quirk.
That is weird because then you play them one more time the rest of the year, or
then it's the fourth time. And the Nets and Knicks, I don't think meet up until December.
Yeah, that was annoying because I was looking at that to try to do something, with our wives and watch the games or do something, and it was then they don't play until February.
Yeah,
it's stupid. It's just okay. Well,
I guess backload it. All right, here's my question for you, and this was brought up on Evan and Tiki on WFAN. This Jumpman Jordan brand stuff is on a lot of this Knicks gear. Would you ever wear anything Jordan as a Knicks fan?
I would, because I have Jordan sneakers. I've had Jordan clothes. I have that stuff, but it's like a small Jumpman, or it's a Jordan brand. It's the brand, and I'm not rooting for Michael Jordan. It's not it's like a Chicago Bulls thing, but I know the shirt you're talking about, where it's the Jumpman is huge
and it's
on
orange
the shirt.
And blue.
and it says New York Knicks in small letters, and I would not wear that. I think that's pushing it. You want to have a little Jordan logo in the corner somewhere, like in the back,
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, okay, but like a massive Jordan jump man, no, I'm not doing that. And the Utah Jazz fans, shout out to them really quick.
yeah.
If that's where you're going with that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go. You say it. You say it.
They revolted. Fans revolted and said, "We get this out of our store," and they pulled it out of the store because obviously with the finals appearances, Michael Jordan is not loved in Utah, so it's a little different.
But shouldn't he not be loved in New York either?
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but at the same time, I didn't love him when he played, and when I was a kid, I hated him, and then he retired, and then when he came back, I kind of learned to like, okay, I can root against this guy while also respecting him and appreciating greatness and realizing that I'm seeing Michael Jordan, so I kind of understood that, and wearing his clothes and the Jordan stuff is not rooting for the Chicago Bulls. It's just a different kind of level. I don't know. It's not like I'm wearing Reggie Miller stuff. You know what I mean? Which I couldn't do. But Jordan stuff has become a brand on its own. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's hard to be like, I'm not wearing that Jordan stuff.
That is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know the right answer, but it's just interesting how a player that tormented your organization isn't really hated.
Yeah, because he's Michael Jordan. I mean, it's like you lose to Michael Jordan. There was there was shame in it back then, but now you look back, you lose to Michael Jordan. It's like, well, you lost to Michael Jordan. It's like.
So you have a problem then losing to Brady? You lost to Tom Brady.
No, well, Tom Brady that's a different. It's completely different because Tom Brady was it was a lot longer of a time. Also, it's like 20 years. Not to mention all the cheating scandals and not to mention all of the running up the scores and all of that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's a little different. Plus the Jets did beat Brady in the playoffs. The Knicks never beat Jordan in the playoffs.
Thank God.
So yeah. So there's that.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I don't know if I could. Who is Reggie Miller the number one? Like I could never put on that player's jersey from an opposing team. Who's the one guy? Yeah. For you personally, where you're like, I could never wear a blank jersey.
I think not Jordan, because I have a North Carolina Jordan jersey that I got when I was younger, but never a Bulls one. I can't. Yeah, it's probably Reggie Miller, and then there's Alonzo Mourning, Tim Hardaway, guys like that. I could never.
Durant Nets jersey.
Durant Nets jersey. Kyrie probably number one. I would
Kyrie
never
Nets
wear
jersey. Yeah,
Kyrie any jersey, never. And yeah, I think I have to think about it a little more. It's kind of putting me on the spot. But
you got time.
Yeah. Okay, let's just wait. Yeah.
Got 7 days.
7 days.
7
days. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited for the start of the
6
regular
days.
season, and I can't wait for the next time we record, and we're both pissed. The team's lost.
You know what's going to happen? Like Quickley's going to be traded in like 10 minutes after we get published on this. And really kind of deep cut Mets fan thing, as I was trying to think of a comparison to Roby, Isaiah Roby getting released, and Knicks fans saying he's going to be the guy. Don't worry about Obi Toppin. And I was thinking about Dilson Herrera with the Mets.
I remember
when,
that. Yeah,
with Daniel Murphy was like the Mets didn't try to sign Daniel Murphy after he had this amazing run in 2015, and they let him go. And then a lot of it was like, hey, we traded for this guy Dilson Herrera. He's in the minors. He's going to be the second baseman of the future. Don't worry about it. And then like in 2 years, he played like a few games and then was traded, and he sucked.
What's his name from the Pirates? I'm spacing on his name now. Who they got?
What?
Second baseman who filled in for Murphy the next year.
Oh,
blanking.
Yeah, I'm blanking too. But but that's I don't know why Dilson Herrera popped into my head. I know Evan Roberts would know what would get that, because I remember him yelling about that on the radio and stuff like that. And it just popped in my head because of course, because once Dilson Herrera sucked, everybody's like, I never said that. We never said that he was going to be the guy of the future. And it's just like, yeah, you did. You know what I mean? Like there's so many Knicks fans over the summer. Isaiah Roby, he's going to be the backup four. We'll be okay. We don't need Obi. He's going to do Isaiah Roby's just as good. He's going to fill in a role. He's going to hit some threes, and he's going to be fine. And it's just, he sucked in summer league, and he was okay in the preseason. I'm actually surprised because he played well in the second to last preseason game, hit a bunch of threes, and I was like, all right, maybe this guy can, fill in and hit a couple threes. We got nothing else to lose. And then all of a sudden he's gone. You know what I mean?
You didn't say Neil Walker, by the way, is
Neil Walker. Yeah, the Pirates legend, Neil Walker.
You're so upset about this like Nick thing. I mean, you knew what was going to happen. You're more upset at the Nick fans.
Yes.
Not a bright bunch, to be fair, though.
Well, you know what they're gonna do? I'm letting that one go. It's not fair because like not fair is not the right word, but it's like not. They have no height on the bench, and they're gonna try to shove Jericho Sims into a position that he's not playing, that he doesn't play like power forward, and he can't shoot. Yeah, stretch four, he can't shoot, and he doesn't shoot further than 5 feet away from the basket. You know what I mean? So he's DeAndre Jordan. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just what are we doing? You know? So, but we'll see. Josh Hart can get a lot of rebounds, but you know, you're going to play these teams in the playoffs, and then when the game slows down, you're going to need the size. And what's going to happen then? Then you have Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart on the bench playing power forward, and then what? So you got to kind of make a move, and that's why I wanted to deal Evan Fournier. Just get me a body, get me somebody that's 6'10" that can pop a jumper, and that's it. Give me 2 minutes, 5 minutes a night, and that's all you need. And like I know that's not the end all be all, but you're going to need that insurance because Julius Randle goes down. He's not indestructible. He did get hurt last year at the end of the season, and that's when Obi stepped in and played really well in the playoffs. That their Knicks are going to be fucked if Randle gets hurt now. Like they have nobody to turn to. They're going to be a completely small team, and I know it's the NBA. Stop being such a dinosaur, Alex, and blah blah blah. But size matters. It really does. Size really does matter, and it's just gonna be I'm gonna be negative then if I say stuff like that. So I'm trying to be positive. I'm trying to be like, we're going into the season, we're gonna be okay, and we'll see what happens.
That's a natural transition point because you are a Nets hater, but you might also be a Knicks hater, and we did have some love, if you want to call it that, on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget, everybody, rate, review, 5 stars if you're an Apple listener. Also, should mention too, on Spotify, you can now watch these podcasts. You can actually get the video version of it on Spotify. Should have said that at the beginning of the podcast, but here we are. But give that time. It takes like an extra couple hours. So if you go right to Spotify and you're like, why isn't it there yet? Because the double upload. No, I'm saying things that no one cares about.
Nobody cares. But we got the video on Spotify now. If you guys have Spotify and want to see
what I just said.
Yes. Did you? I wasn't paying attention.
Anything I say?
No, I was just reading something.
All right. So yeah, anyway, leave us Apple comments. We actually got one recently, and Alex has a fun story to tie it all together as we say goodbye to the preseason.
Yes. And by the way, we have video on Spotify if you don't know about that yet. So just to let you know. But so we got this comment on Apple, and it was from MMDevil91, and it said, "I listen every week and am a big fan of the show. Alex is a big Nets hater, which is mostly entertaining to listen how irrational he gets. To be fair, he's similar with the Knicks. Someone give him a hug." So I saw the comment, we both laughed, and I was like, I got to find out who this is. I literally have no idea, and I posted it, and it was our guy Michael Lee Morris. He's at Michael Lee M. And he says, "I turned myself into the proper authorities," and it was him, and he's a big fan of ours. And shout out to Michael. So it was fun. It was a fun time. So I'm always thankful to hear about listeners, especially people that I don't know who listen. So let us know, give us comments, and tell us what you think of the show. So
yeah, I mean, how many times can you shout out Coonies on a podcast? I mean, my God, we're not doing it this week though. Not doing it this week.
And as he talked about Coonies, I coughed, crazy, and I hit mute. So it was good. I blew up my spot by telling everybody that I hit mute, but you said Coonies and it just
behind the scenes, bad weather fans. Next episode, we're going to talk about RSS feeds and how you get a podcast distributed on a network.
Right.
But yeah, don't leave your comments. We'll definitely read them. That was a fun one. So thank you, Michael, for leaving that. This has been Bad Weather Fans episode 191. As we mentioned before, this is on Apple. It's on Spotify, which now has video for you, which is really cool. If you want to watch that. Also, you can get the video version on YouTube. Check us out there. Subscribe, hit the like button. And episode 192 coming to your way next week will be reaction to the Knicks versus the Celtics home opener, season opener, and the Nets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers home opener. I'm going with 41 wins for the Nets. Alex is going with 68 wins for the Knicks. And we just appreciate all of y'all listening to this podcast. 66 wins for the Knicks. So thank you, everybody, for listening. We'll see you next week. It'll be a lot of fun. And Alex, enjoy the rest of your week. And, good luck to your Celtics in that season opener versus the Knicks.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.